Okay, everyone. JD Vance is under fire for hugging Erika Kirk. If you don't know this, it happened at the CPPAC conference. Christian influencer Erika Kirk gave an emotional intro, calling Vance a man who reminded her of her late husband. And that's when things got awkward. Cameras caught them sharing what some are calling a too long hug. Her arms around him, his hand resting on her waist. It lasted just seconds, but the internet, it exploded. Some people saw it as genuine and heartfelt. Others say it crossed a line, especially for a senator who constantly talks about family values. But here's the thing. There's no scandal, no accusations, no statements, just vibes. But in politics, vibes can go viral, and this one did. His actual speech on domestic policy barely made a ripple, but that hug, that's all anyone's talking about. Memes are everywhere. Hashtags like #JDVanceMoment are flooding TikTok and X. People are reading into it, saying it exposes a double standard, or that it shows a different side of Vance. But neither Vance nor Erika Kirk have commented, and in this media landscape, silence can speak louder than words. So, was it just a hug, or does this moment say something bigger about image, optics, and politics in 2025? Let me know what you think. This story is still developing, and no one should start writing stories in their heads. This was just normal and nothing more.
I've really been fighting myself. I've been at war with myself to not speak on this topic. I am a fan of Charlie Kirk. I think he was a bold advocate for the gospel. But from the first moment I listened and watched Erika Kirk, red flags went up for me. Something is off here. At first, I thought maybe I just watched one too many Candace Owens videos, and now I really believe everybody's against Charlie Kirk. But now that I've seen what I've seen, I can't unsee it.
I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life.
This was the first speech that she gave after her husband just got in front of the whole world. It just felt so performative, so practiced and scripted. As a minister, I've watched so many people mourn the loss of loved ones, and that just doesn't feel like what we're hearing or seeing, not just in this moment, but every moment with Erika Kirk in it. This is the only moment that I felt like was legitimate where she really felt devastated. Every other moment that I've seen her supposedly cry with this little white tissue, it just looks forced and there's no tears. Then of course there's this. As a married man, this is weird. You can't touch me this way. I can't touch you that way. You can fist bump me, slap hands, shake hands, but this can't happen. I don't know what all of this means. I don't know what this makes her. I'm still trying to figure all of that out. All I know is when I hear her and see her, something don't feel right. I'm throwing up red flags all over the place. To be continued, I guess.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight.
Now, Usha, I know you have had to share your husband with the couch many, many times. I know. It's hard. It's hard when your husband is a homosexual, but I don't know, girl. I think you're in danger. I think you're in danger because I ain't never seen your man smile like that around you, babe. The Jezebel spirit in me recognizes the Jezebel spirit in her, so I call up the boy.
Call me crazy. Go ahead. Call me crazy. And I could just be someone who's completely in love with their husband. So I can't relate to Erika here. What? There are very few instances that one can make a statement and say, but afterwards. And this isn't one of them. Saying no one can replace my dead husband, but is wild. And I'm just curious. Erika, what similarities do you see between your dead husband, Charlie Kirk, and JD Vance?
You told your children that Charlie was going on a work trip with Jesus. Are they still asking, where's Daddy?
Yes, my daughter continues to ask, but it's really sweet because I keep explaining to her a few things. And I said, if ever you want to talk to Daddy, you just look up to the sky and start talking to him. He can hear you. He's always in your heart. And I told her, I said, you know, Daddy is in heaven. She goes, you think I could go sometime? I said, baby, we will all go one day. We will all go one day.
Oh, did you notice the hug that was seen around the world? Oh my goodness. Miss Erika Kirk and JD. Oh, I want to call him the Vice President of the United States, but she called him JD. What say you folk?
Putting your hands in a man's hair when you hug him, that is a very intimate thing to do. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about that, it's because we're talking about the hug heard around the world. And everyone was trying to comfort JD Vance by showing this image where he had his hand on his hip. But if you watch the video, this is not what it looks like. His hand brushed, like, he's not the problem here. This is what I have a problem with. Girl, what are you doing? Now, I went and visited my old job last week or a week or two ago, and I saw some of my old coworkers who were men, who I was close with. They were like my friends. And when I saw them, it had been a while, so I gave them hugs. And I started thinking to myself, if I had, like, put my hands on the back of their heads when I hugged them, how inappropriate. Like, they would have been like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't know. Dude, Usha, girl, you're in danger. She's with the leather pants and the crop top. I would be upset if someone did that to my husband or boyfriend. I'm just saying.
Well, this is weird. I mean, you don't just run your hands through a man's hair like this unless, or touch a woman's hips like this unless. Usha, you're going to be replaced, girl. You and the couch. I mean, JD is already setting it up that you haven't converted to Christianity, so, the signs of divorce are there. But also, it looks like a lot of propaganda from this administration pushing Turning Point's Christian national agenda. And Turning Point is literally like another arm of our government at this point. Like out of nowhere, JD Vance and Usha Vance are now BFFs with Erika and have been like glued to the hip to her. They even had her stay with them at the Naval Observatory. And JD Vance, besides being our VP, is literally a podcast bro with Turning Point and clearly doing events with Erika. They're either going to be a couple or a couple of running mates in 2028. I mean, maybe they are just really good friends who have a lot in common, like eyeliner.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erika Kirk. Because Erika Kirk and JD Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream. And you won't convince me otherwise. Because what is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, you don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are. But if that's not enough, here is her introducing him at Turning Point.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
And if you're not convinced yet that they're trying to replace her with Erika Kirk, this is him when asked by a student about him and his wife's difference in like their religious beliefs. And he ends it with this.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that because I believe in the Christian gospel and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
He wants her to fall in line. He wants her to be a Christian nationalist just like him. And if he can't convince her, he'll find a new one.
If you were J.D. Vance's wife, would you not be a little suspicious of this? Watch.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
The look on this picture is priceless. If you look at it, she has a world on her shoulders thinking about how did I get into this mess? How do I get out of this mess? And what shall I do about this mess? Oh my God. We all know this is highly inappropriate, especially for a married man and a widow. Vance's wife, are you kind of like, maybe he should sleep on the couch for there's something going on here and he needs to think about it? Or do you be like, well, I can't really send him out on the couch because he might leave me for the couch. Or maybe Charlie Kirk's wife. I don't know.
JD Vance and Erika Kirk's hug. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, it's your girl Jen Trey Hay, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, which you probably have, but JD Vance and Erica Kirk had an interesting embrace when greeting each other at an event. Now, we understand that they have a close relationship, okay? I don't think it was the hug more or less, but the positioning of the hand for someone who is married and someone who is grieving their late partner, that's what makes it kind of weird. I'm a person that notices everything, right? So the hand placement for a married man and a widow is just very strange for me. Like, I don't know anybody who would hug me like that from my husband's friends. Like, they wouldn't hug me on my waist or anything like that because it's just inappropriate. I also would not hug one of my husband's friends and put my hand on their head because that's just not normal. That's not a normal place I would feel comfortable putting my hand to embrace one of my husband's friends. Y'all comment below.
Usha has a group text, and that group text is on fire. It's her aunties, it's her mom, it's her best friend from college. They have seen this. They knew him. They tried to warn her. They tried to roll the red flags. And I am not taking any responsibility away from her participation within this madness, but I'm telling you that her group text is on fire. I told you so. Didn't I tell you this hillbilly was going to end up being this way? Didn't I tell you he was suspicious? The group text is on fire. And for any of you who are receiving a group text based on your relationship and the red flags that your best friend saw, and you are not acting upon it, this is time for you to pay attention to your gut. Because I guarantee that what he says out loud, he has said in private, and she has felt always. When people are bold enough to say what they feel out loud in front of auditoriums of people, that means she has felt it going up and down those stairs of the plane, every vacation, every scenario that they have participated in. She has felt not only the discomfort of his indifference.
I saw this was trending with Erika Kirk hugging JD Vance and putting her hands all in his hair. And it made me want to ask, would you be okay with someone hugging your man like this? And maybe their husband just died. And maybe they really admire your husband. And they say they do, and he's awesome. And they just want to give him a big old hug. Personally, I think this breaks girl code on a lot of levels. And I may be psycho and jealous, and that's okay. And I'm not wanting to change it. It may be a toxic trait that I'm not willing to address, but if someone dug their manicured nails into my man's scalp like this, no, we're not doing that. I'm pretty nonchalant, but something about this just irked me, bothered me, and this is not even a political post about these people or anything they believe or stand for or their ideology, whatever, none of that. This is just this isolated event. Is it cool? Is it okay? I don't know.
Baby, the way Erika Kirk hugged JD Vance on the stage the other night at that Turning Point event was given very cringy and very disrespectful. That is not the way you hug a married man. I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, in her speech, as she's introducing him, she says, and I quote, "No one will ever replace my husband, but JD Vance has a lot of similarities." And then when this man comes on stage, she literally gives him this very intimate and passionate hug, as though her hands are all in the back of his head. Baby, the only thing that was missing was the kiss to seal the deal. Do you hear me? And then when JD Vance gets on the stage and starts his speech, honey, I don't know if the man was soft launching his divorce or what. He sits up there and say how he hoped that his wife changed her religion to Christianity because of what? Because of what? So now you're saying you want a Christian woman like Erika? I don't know, y'all. I know this lady is a grieving widow and her husband just passed away and all this other stuff, but every time that lady open her mouth, she gets cringy, she gets more darker, her aura is off, she's just weird as hell. I don't know, y'all. What are your thoughts? What are your your opinions? But that was crazy.
What I hear you saying is that, yes, Barry, this picture does look questionable. And I would never be okay with my partner hugging somebody else like that. And I would never hug somebody else like that if I had a partner. But I still love Erika Kirk and I still love JD Vance. And she's been through a lot. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And JD Vance is just your friendly neighborhood corporal next door. And he really cares about her. Because that's what I hear you saying. Because the picture, because it don't look good. Because I try to think of all the times I've had a woman hug me, run her hand up the back of my head and just feather my hair. And I don't have a lot of hair to feather, but still. And I just thought of all the times when I was in a relationship that my partner did that to another man. And guys, I couldn't find any. Maybe it's my memory. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not here to make accusations, but when we saw that picture, when we saw the video, we were all like, whoa, don't lie. You know you did. You know you did. And all I want to know is, are you cool with your man hugging a woman like that? Are you cool with a woman hugging your man like that? That's all I want to know.
Here's a weird update of what's happening in America today. A rally, JD Vance and Erika Kirk embraced like they were a couple who seemed very familiar with each other. Because this video, and this video are definitely the same energy. I'm just saying. On top of that, he made a public declaration that he wanted his wife to convert to Christianity, which seems like a buildup for him to maybe divorce his wife very soon and marry Erika Kirk for a bid for president.
My wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family. Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
Because why is she, a widower whose husband was violently murdered, saying that no one reminds her of her husband but JD Vance, and then JD Vance is hugging her in the same week that he's hoping that his wife converts to Christianity, in the same week that he's saying no one wants to live next to people who don't speak English, and his wife's family doesn't speak English in America. America is one big telenovela.
There's not a single scenario in the world where I would be hugging a woman around their waist as a married man. No, there's none. There's none. And I just don't like my wife. There's no way. This can't be like I'm the outlier for thinking like that. At what point would a wife have that type of hand placement when hugging another man? It's just no.
Understand that if my husband hugged anyone like this, other than me, it'd be the last fucking hug he ever gave. Listen, here's the thing. I'm not the jealous type. I know that sounds ironic, but I think it's flattering when people hit on my husband and flirt with him. Because I'm like, yeah, I think he's fine too. I get it. But this shit, that hug is intimate, right? That's a Nicholas Sparks kind of hug right there. That's a book talk type of hug. The way that he has his arms around her waist, her hand in his hair, the way he's looking at her, my God. Sorry, my husband's only allowed to look at me that way. Or Orville Peck, or Chris Evans, or Jonathan Bailey. Only those four people though, but that right there, ooh, that's gonna piss me. Usha, baby, JD Vance's wife, what you doing? Second lady, wake the fuck up. I think your husband might be having an affair. And Usha, baby girl, listen, I just need you to have a little bit of self-respect. A little bit, right? If it wasn't for his like racism and you being a woman of color, if that wasn't enough, this blatant thing right here, he was just caught saying yet again, he wants his wife to convert to Christianity because he doesn't like that she's not a Christian. What does he like about you, babes? Usha, baby girl, aren't you tired? Leak stuff about this entire administration, okay? Just do it, girl. Burn the whole thing down. I know you can, but you won't. And that pisses me off.
So Erika Kirk and JD Vance. There's a conversation going around just because of a hug they shared at a Turning Point event that she seems like too close and maybe a mistress. First of all, I am sick to death of everybody spinning everything that this grieving widow is doing. Not everybody has the same grief. Not everybody grieves the same way. Her husband was publicly assassinated in front of hundreds of people, and millions of people saw it. It's out there. Very different than anything that I think most widows would experience. But on top of that, she's being blasted and blamed and even conspired that she was somehow behind it. There's so much more going on with that poor woman, what she's having to deal with. So first of all, her grief is a little different. Second of all, and I'm going to show you from my affair recovery perspective, like the difference that I see. and I will show you a short clip of a video, but we got to stop sensationalizing these types of things. Seriously, you guys, like, calm down. Remember Charlie Kirk if you need to, but do not sensationalize these things. It is not helpful. Now, I deem that hug, I watched it happen, not just a picture, not just the picture of her, I watched the full hug happen, and I will show you a video. To me, it is a deep friendship that has probably more blossomed from this deep tragic grief.
Many pointed
Okay,
out
look at this. That double tap. You see that butterfly tap. He gives it a hug of dearness, of close kinship. That is not an intimate hug. He also does the tap, tap, tap. That is almost every guy bro code of, if it's with another guy, it's bro code to this is not going in any other direction, but it's also a code with females. It's this is not anything but just a friendly hug. Hugs are life-giving, you guys. They are very much needed when you're grieving. I can tell you that I have hugged dear friends of mine very intimately because they were going through an extremely hard time. I also want to show you her hug with President Trump during the memorial. Look at that. Look how close that is. No, love Trump, hate Trump. This isn't what this is about. This is showing you that almost like a child needing a grandpa or a father, that's what that hug was. And again, as somebody who deals with mistresses and affairs, most people who are involved in affairs are far more secretive. If they had something going on, they would not hug like that publicly. There would be an awkwardness between the two of them. You guys, she's just a grieving widow. And these are the people who are rallying behind her, trying to help her. I'm honestly sick to death of people picking apart this poor girl. Like, anybody here who has grieved through the affair and people are like, just get over it already. Why are you acting this way? Doesn't it drive you freaking nuts? You get to act the way you need to. She's deeply religious and Christian, so she believes Charlie's in heaven. I'm deeply Christian too, so I get it. I understand the way that she's acting. She loved him, but she knows that there's hope. It's not that hard to understand as somebody who believes that she is poised because she was trained for this. She was some pageant girl, but she's also a deeply Christian religious person. And it's not hard to believe that people who loved Charlie and loved their family would be thoughtful and there would be deep hugs and deep friendships during this time. Now, a year down the line, if there are hugs like this and there's more intimacy, that could be bothersome or troublesome because in these times, people who rally around you can cause things to happen. You have to have strong boundaries. And I think that's what JD was doing with the butterfly. He was like, hey, I'm here for you, but it's not that way. Tap, tap, tap. But no, I do not think that that looked like a mistress embrace or that they have some inappropriate relationship. I truly don't. Now, Coldplay concert, 100%. That was intimate. These two, nah, man. That's just grief and people trying to rally behind her.
Usha, girly, your days as second lady may be numbered. And no, I'm not one of the people out here saying, oh, they fucking, look at them spark. I don't think they're having an affair. I don't think just because she was gripping the back of his neck that JD Vance is looking at her like she's a sectional. No. But these are two people really wanting power. They want power at all costs. They want to grow their power. Specifically when it comes to JD Vance, he wants the keys to the MAGA kingdom. And we learned real quick when Vivek hosted that Turning Point USA event and he was pelted with racism from MAGA because of the color of his skin and the fact that he's not a Christian. JD Vance even came out and said he wishes Usha would convert to Christianity because he knows that's going to be an issue with MAGA when he tries to take over. And when he looks at Erika Kirk, she is everything he needs in a second wife. And normally you'd think having a second wife would be a problem for real Christians. But since Donald Trump came around, no one apparently in MAGA cares how many wives you've had in the past.
So unfortunately, I'm talking about Erika Kirk again because she's back, this time on stage with JD Vance. And why did it kind of look like a soft launch? So she gets up there and she begins talking about how nobody could ever replace her late husband, Charlie, and then immediately follows it with, "But I do see some similarities in JD." Interesting. The tone, the body language, I think we can all agree it all seemed way too cozy. I'm sorry, you're supposed to be introducing the vice president, not whatever this was. And then she drops this line, I could just hear Charlie go reclaim that territory, babe. Why are we calling on your husband mid-eulogy to flirt with JD Vance? And because her soft launching JD Vance on stage wasn't already enough, the rumor mill is now saying they're getting together and running for office in 2028. I wish I was joking. And I say this as somebody who has been covering Erika Kirk since before she learned how to monetize tragedy. I have seen every single arc from this woman. The mourning arc, the faith healing arc, and now the vice president's soft launch arc. I've said it once and I'll say it again, Erika Kirk does not mourn, she markets, and every single thing that she does is performative.
JD Vance is fucking Erika Kirk, and he's probably been fucking Erika Kirk. JD Vance out here cheating on his wife and his couch.
No one will ever replace my husband.
You sure about that?
No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
Erika Kirk must be running a spiritual mentorship program because JD Vance's soul has been saved twice a week.
And Vice President JD Vance, I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against.
JD's marriage vows really said till sectional do us part. He treats his couch as a partner and Erika Kirk as a confessional booth. Ooh, she put her hand on his head. I wonder where he got his hands. That's pretty low, bro. That's not a hug. That's a we pray together, but only when the lights are off. That's that praise the Lord, but don't tell my wife grip. Body language says God knows, and so does the group chat. That hug lasted 3 seconds longer than Jesus would approve. Why is he standing there like that? What are you proud of? Like, yeah, I fucked that. So yeah, that's something that's happening.
All I have to say is that JD Vance's first wife is way better than me. Because if I was Usha, I would be livid with him right now. I would be going live, spilling some tea and some theories. Because what do you mean this interaction happened in the exact same day and there's nothing going on?
Will ever replace my husband? No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against.
The same time that she is screaming over what a great man JD is, while talking about her recently, within the past 6 weeks, deceased husband's death, like, it's a little crazy. And at the exact same time as she made that speech, the exact same event, he stood up there and trash talked his wife and talked about how he is disappointed that she doesn't have the same faith as him, but he hopes that one day she will have a change of heart. What?
Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
Not to mention this photo, because he's never done PDA like that ever with his wife. So this is a lot. My personal theory is that by this time next year, he's going to go public about how he tried to be a godly man in an interfaith marriage and an interracial marriage, but
it's just not designed for him, and that people should be with people that see eye to eye. You know, Erika is a woman of God, and her late husband was a true icon for their fight. So God put her in his path to stand with him for the rest of her fight. Some shit like that. Continue Kirk's legacy as he becomes president. Something like that. She's gonna try to be the first lady one day. So yeah, Erika Vance, I'm on to you. I'm on to you. And Usha, I really hope you didn't sign no prenup, girl. Get his ass.
This isn't political in any way, so don't go in my comments talking about no politics. The way that Erika Kirk has moved through this whole thing ever since her husband got shot has been fucking weird. From her fake-ass crocodile tears to her speech of losing Charlie Kirk, the way she is with Trump, the way she is with JD Vance, all of this shit is fucking weird. You can't fucking convince me otherwise. People say, oh, everyone grieves it. Shut the fuck up. It's giving the Turning Point USA version of fucking Amber Heard. No, as a man, if another woman grabs the back of my head during a hug, throat check, okay? Get the fuck out of here. You are not my wife. That dude has a wife. It's all fucking off. I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist person, but the shit is just fucking odd to see in broad fucking daylight for everyone to fucking watch and just play like we all dumb as fuck. Something's going on.
So all this talk about Erika Kirk and JD Vance and people saying like, oh, watch out, Usha, she's coming for your man. And everyone being like, oh, if someone put their hands through my husband's hair like that, I'd be throwing down and like, what's up with this? The thing I have not heard one single person say is this is clearly propaganda to make JD Vance look appealing because he is so utterly unappealing, unmasculine, undesirable. I'm quite sure that he is closeted. We all know that like he has a thing for couches. Had a trans friend in college. We've all seen the pictures of him wearing the blonde wig. He's a pudgy eyeliner wearing loser. And this is all, it's not like, oh, she's coming for him and they're actually going to have an affair. This is propaganda to make JD Vance more appealing to the MAGA base so he looks like a real man to them. Because right now, they think he's like a little effeminate, like he's giving liberal to them. Because he went to Yale. Because he wears eyeliner. Because he learned from Peter Thiel how to pretend you're not gay. Look at this. As if those are his arms. Stop!
And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night, okay? I don't know how you can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth. That's it, okay? You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial event before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth and you tell it immediately. And I don't think they're capable of doing that. And I have an idea as to why that is. I think the same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact. So they might need my help. Okay. I'm going to state this and I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true.
Everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we've decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Ole Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can, and that's what I try to do.
I've gotten several requests to decode this video with Erika Kirk and JD Vance. Let's look at JD Vance's side of the hug first. He gives a tight hug with a pat on the back. So some people often pat people on the back. That's just kind of how they manage a longer hug. And for some people, that patting on the back is what they do to comfort someone else. He also rests his hands after the hug for a second on her waist area, which can be a sign of affection and or romantic interest. It's the move to slide her hands up and grasp and cradle his head that is getting so much attention. This is a move that we women do when we are in a deep kiss, which is why it looks so very intimate. Erika then ends her hug by grasping his shoulders, which is a sign of affection and closeness. That said, grief can do really wonky things to humans, but this is wonky for sure. I'm Yanni Sarnblad, and I teach microexpressions and all things nonverbal.
Look, y'all, I've tried to be quiet about this. I've tried so hard. If y'all don't think this was an inside job, then what else could it be? Is she standing on this man's coffin? Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. And y'all know I am the last person to talk about conspiracy theories, all that mess, because I'm really not into politics. I don't care about politics. But, bro, this is clear as day. I mean, just really look at it. The whole time, when she came out, she to these big interests, like it was WWE type. All of it just seems performative. It looks like a big old play, like some real WWE type stuff, man. I grew up watching wrestling. I can see the storyline. Watch, them two finna end up together. I promise you. Give it a couple years. And every time she get on stage crying, no tears are coming out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we see the crying and the performative tears, but nothing is coming out. No tears. She just doesn't seem like a widowing wife. And like I said, I think this is an inside job. I think this was an inside job.
You know, never did I think that so many people would be attacking a newly grieving widow. And first, it was the way that she hugged President Donald Trump. Well, now that seems to be fizzled out. Nobody's talking about that. But now everybody's talking about the way that she hugged Vice President JD Vance. And the speculations that you guys have are insane, per usual. Like, you guys really truly think that Erika Kirk is going to become JD Vance's wife? His wife, Usha, is going to be out of the picture, and Erika is going to be his new wife. Like, just think about how that sounds. It makes zero sense, and it would definitely never happen, and that's not even the type of relationship that they have. So maybe you should look at it as JD Vance and Usha have been there for Erika since Charlie Kirk had passed, and the country as a whole is mourning and grieving Charlie Kirk, and JD Vance is Vice President of America. Donald Trump is the President of America. Therefore, an assassination happened on an American citizen in America. What is the president and vice president's job when something like that happens? Not only that, but they were also very close to Charlie Kirk. This is why you guys are just so delusional. And we say that you have Trump derangement syndrome. Because it is so incredibly true, and you guys keep proving it to us every single day.
JD Vance and Erika Kirk came and spoke at the Oxford University of Mississippi at Old Miss. And that's all I can say. Just like when he died, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was. That's all I can say. Do you see how I'm being very cutesy and very demure, not speaking about things that I don't know about? All I know is that he came. What they talked about, like, I mean, I kind of do have an idea what they talk about and disagree with some of those things because I feel like they get very Christian nationalist, but that's just my opinion. But I can't say anything else on the matter. I just thought y'all should know that. Yeah.
Here's what I have to say about this. To Mrs. Vance, if I were you, I would call up Katie Holmes. You remember Katie Holmes. She was that actress on that show, Dawson's Creek. She was also married to Tom Cruise, the poster boy for Scientology. And about 5 or 6 years into the marriage, after she had had their daughter Suri, she realized, you know what, this shit is crazy. Tom Cruise went away to make a movie, and while he was gone, she called up her father, who is an attorney, and he helped her move all of her things out of the house she shared with Cruise. And she and her daughter got out of there. By the time Tom Cruise returned from that movie set, she was gone. That move was executed with such precision, Katie Holmes ought to teach a class. Mrs. Vance, I highly recommend, again, that you call up Katie.
Take a look at this video. JD Vance and Erika Kirk spoke to students today at the University of Mississippi. Charlie Kirk's widow stunned the crowd when she walked out and gave JD Vance a hug. However, when Erika Kirk stepped out on stage, people online noticed something. Do you see it? I'll keep you guys updated.
So the difference between me and the people that are in them places is that I'm on the outside with you guys. But my husband knows this, okay? And he's got something a little bit wrong with him too, and that's the reason why he likes me. So I sent him the photos of our vice president hugging up on his friend's widow, comforting her in her time of need, right? And the first thing he said to me is that Carrie Underwood? And I said, no. And then I said, if you get it in your head that you're going to be hugged up on somebody like that, and if somebody else gets it in their head that they're going to be hugged up on you like that, your little atheist self is going to find out whether or not God and the afterlife are really real quick and in a hurry. And he thought that was funny because he is a man of taste. He knows humor when he sees it. And also he's, like I said, he's not crazy, but he does have something wrong with him. That's why he likes me. And he wouldn't do something like that. But I just can't believe it. What I can't believe is not that all this is going on. What I can't believe is that he thought that was Carrie Underwood.
But I want to encourage you, especially the students here, find your voice. You are the courageous generation. That's what you are. All of you. Gen Z, you are the courageous generation. Hear me when I say that. My husband believed that to his core. That's why he went on campuses. That's why he was trying to reach you.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.